I'm Kurt Hauswirth with Public Radio 90 WNMU-FM, and this is The Local Spin. I'm pleased to say my guest today is local musician Kerry Yost. She makes music with numerous people in the Upper Great Lakes, whether as a solo artist or as a part of a group. She plays a mean guitar and has a wonderful voice. So welcome to you, Carrie.
Thank you, Kurt. So
It's
very kind.
Well, you've been so kind to share your gifts with the Upper Great Lakes in numerous ways, and you've been a busy musician ever since I've known you. Performing as a solo artist or with groups such as Sawfox or Ruby the Tank. Many musicians have been affected by this pandemic. We're doing a video chat right now as opposed to something in person. But also musicians have been limited, or also they've had their gigs eliminated just because of the situation here. They would normally rely on that for part of their work or just to share their music. So how has the pandemic affected you in changing your regular performance schedule?
Well, the obvious is, not so many live performances. I was lucky enough to get to participate in some outdoor performances before winter came. And that was really, it was kind of an interesting thing because there's a lot of new logistics to consider when performing and when setting up a gig. Everyone kind of has different ideas about what is COVID safe and sound. And so it's been a good practice in communication and also a good practice in setting personal boundaries of what you feel comfortable with. But yeah, I've been really fortunate. I got to participate in a really great socially distanced, masked up outdoor gig at the library, at the Peter White Public Library. And that was fantastic. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they continue to do with their services moving forward in terms of being able to provide art entertainment to our community. And also I've gotten to do a virtual gig through the Hiawatha, the Fold, which is a Hiawatha production. They're doing some really cool online. You can check them out also. I think they're doing monthly performances with musicians locally and regionally, as well as some kind of more artist-oriented or artist-produced performances as well. My bandmate and dear friend Michael Waite has been doing performances once. I think it's monthly as well for his.
Mm-hmm. I feel like he started that was that around last fall or so?
Yes.
Since that was kind of live on the mountain when the weather was still good to do, things like that outside.
Yep, I got to go up on the mountain, which was very maybe one of the best gig experiences of my whole life to date. It was so beautiful. Taking a hike to play a gig is a really great experience. It's like combining some of my favorite things into one. So
yeah, and a good warm up too, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, great. Yeah, definitely. And we got to see the sunset. It was incredible. Wonderful. So Michael Waite Music, if you check him out, he's doing performances as well, virtually on a weekly basis or a monthly basis, one of the two. Maybe even intermittently, he has some stuff that's going on. He's always got stuff going on.
Sure. Yep. Lots of things. Yeah. Lots of things on the stovetop for Michael Waite, for sure. Yeah, and you've also been using social media to perform a bit as well and share some music. I've seen some of your videos. You've taken your guitar and used your voice on Instagram, making some performance videos. And I wondered, how do you feel about using that as a platform for performance? And how do you feel about addressing an online audience that way?
Yeah, well, if you watch my videos, you'll notice that I don't really address. I just sing and play. Because it's really strange. The times that I've done gigs since the pandemic started have all been with some sort of a live audience either because they were outside. And then when I did the Hiawatha gig, my friend Jeff Krebs, who was part of Hiawatha, he was like way across the room masked up. And so he was my audience. And I mean, even just having that one person makes such a huge difference for me personally, because I'm really, I mean, that's the only reason I do it, is to be able to connect with somebody I would never play for anyone ever. Otherwise, like, there's no reason to me. I'm like, either I'll play in my apartment by myself, or I'll play for you, you know?
Right.
So that's been kind of weird. And actually the reason that I started doing those videos was more for my own accountability than anything else, because I think that maybe some of your listeners can relate, that it's just hard to motivate to even do the things that you love to do right now. And when you're isolated and you're not necessarily sharing it with or for someone, it makes it even harder still. Especially for someone like me, who, I mean, that's like, connection is such a big part of why I like to participate in the arts. Obviously there's like a personal level to it, but a big part of it for me is getting to work with other artists, other dancers or other musicians. And and that's just not possible right now for me. So the videos were more, okay, like, I'm going to actually practice playing and singing. You know, for a long time, I wasn't playing at all. I didn't touch my guitar for weeks and weeks and weeks, and was not singing. And that was a bad habit to be getting into. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do this once a week, which didn't happen.
Well, you took action, you know,
but I
did got back into it.
Yeah. And it's been nice. I mean, it's been also a learning curve. Part of it too is getting to learn how do you participate as an artist virtually. Virtual is so not my thing. So, you know, watching some of the older videos, I'm like, oh wow, the sound is horrible on that, and the video is horrible. And I mean, I was just recording off of my computer essentially. And it's been a good challenge trying to figure out how to do this in a way that sounds okay and makes sense.
And I know that's been a big challenge for musicians overall too, is just trying to figure out how they can translate something that's so live and such a connecting factor for people into, you know, screen to screen, where it's like, okay, we're not going to have the same kind of magic this way, but at least here's something. And like you said too, that's really important for, you know, the feeling of not getting into a bad habit or starting to feel like you're rusty or something. But at the same time, there's such this, you know, I know me personally, there's been such a huge mental health dip during the pandemic. And, you know, a lot of it is that lack of connection with people and being able to get outside and do the regular things. And it's been hard for musicians even to say, can I do this today? Can I get up and make this, you know, piece of content? It starts to become this thing too for, I think, a lot of musicians, where it's like, okay, now I'm a content creator or something. And maybe that's something that hasn't been, you know, on the radar for people.
Yes.
Do you feel that way about content creation? I mean, is that something that you feel like you want to do more of, or is it like not really a natural instinct?
No, not at all for me. So, and again, that's been, but okay, so I'll say no, definitely not. And also, I will say that where I previously have found mostly the negative side effects of social media and the internet and whatnot, I have dug into it in a positive light recently. With the pandemic, it's been such a gift to be able to connect with people. So while I don't love the idea of creating content, I mean, I'll be honest, like, I'm not really, like, I'm playing music so that I practice playing music, and then hopefully somebody enjoys it, which is kind of just like what I do anyway. I'm kind of like, okay, I'm gonna play, and then if you like it, awesome, stick around. If you don't, that's okay. Like, I won't be hurt.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
but it's more of a reflection of you that way instead of maybe feeling like a pressure to say, okay, I need to do this once a week because everyone else says I should. I mean, you kind of get
Right.
to keep to your own standards that way.
Yeah, that is for sure. It's definitely I don't know. If anything, I think that when people are like, yeah, you better do this next week, I'm more likely to be like, yeah, I'm definitely not. I probably won't, you know.
Sure.
But yeah, it's been a cool creative process though too, because because I am by myself. I have been playing around more with just like recording stuff, not necessarily anything that is worth sharing. You know, nothing. I didn't like start putting stuff out there as like content creation. It's just something. It was just something to do to keep me accountable to playing. It was for like my mom, you know, so that my mom and my dad could like hear my music or whatever. You know, if
Sure. And
I
they'll
post
know you're okay too, you know, if you
right,
check in every once in a while, make sure you're on
right,
Instagram every once
are
in a
you
while.
out there? Yeah, yeah. So um but it has been good to dabble in that and to practice, just like practice recording things and play around with harmony or guitar parts, and I've done a little bit of that in a way that's been very satisfying and also very frustrating at times.
Oh yeah, yep. This technology boom has provided all kinds of opportunities and headaches, you know, no matter which way we go. Along with this idea of performing on your own, and then you mentioned performing with Michael Wade and you know some others as well. What are your thoughts on the future of performances, whether it's on your own or as a collaborative thing? How do you feel about like this continuing idea of doing online performances, or do you see maybe, especially in our area, as weather gets better, we'll start to maybe get outside and do some more socially distanced performances?
Yeah, that's my hope for sure. You know, looking forward to more people having access to the COVID-19 vaccine so that we can more safely engage in those sorts of things. But um, outdoor gigs are definitely on the horizon. You know, the sun is shining today. That is always a hopeful thing.
Mhm.
Um, uh, you know, and yeah, hopefully if there's a way to do it safely, then doing some more virtual stuff with other people would be fantastic. I would like to. I have always the hope or intention of doing some recording, and it just I don't know what that's going to look like, or when that will happen. But that's something that obviously at a time like this has been on the radar.
And you're talking like a recording in a studio, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. I say that all the time though, and then it hasn't happened yet. So
Yeah. Well, you know, and it's again, it's such an exploratory time for artists. And I think, you know, maybe as time goes on, there might be easier ways to make some recordings happen or you know, make things happen with content you provide or audio you provide from home. There's going to be hopefully even more positives that come out of this technology than hopefully any of the frustrations that we've experienced so far. But
Mhm.
I'm thankful for you know an opportunity to chat over you know video chat you know, for opportunities like this, and you know hope others can enjoy you know this kind of thing as well. Just a reminder that we are speaking with Kerry Yost on the local spin here, talking about her performances online and socially distanced, and her perspective on what she's seeing so far with kind of the creative and artistic side of musicians in the Upper Great Lakes region. So along with that, you mentioned that you are looking to try to do some recordings. Can you share any information about any upcoming projects you might be working on?
I don't have anything right now, really, other than just again trying to get on the back on board with writing um, and practicing. I practice all the time, but is a hard month. You know, I've been talking with a lot of other artist friends, and the consensus seems to be that we're all kind of like, yeah, yeah, it's like hard for sure, but like, we've been going through this for almost a year now with the pandemic. So why does it feel so hard right now? And then it was like, oh yes, we live in the UP, and it was the end. It's now March 1st, but it was the end of February, and we were wondering why we were having a hard time creating. It's like, oh yeah, okay.
We still have a hump to get through here.
Yeah, there's like a natural flow of things in the UP, and I think that there are a lot of folks that hit February and definitely have a bit of a bump in the road there. So so that's my current project, is maybe projecting myself into spring, and getting back on the bandwagon of sitting down with my notebook and my guitar and seeing what comes out.
Yeah. I totally understand that. I mean, it's definitely an ebb and flow with the seasons, and especially, it's hard to say when spring actually arrives in the UP. We always get surprise storms and such too. So that can throw a damper in things with even outside performances as well. But you said you have a few gigs possibly lined up for when it gets a little bit nicer out?
Yes. Nothing that is set in stone at the moment, but I have some plans to hopefully we'll be able to. Adam Sawfox will be doing a few performances, possibly weddings, that sort of thing, outdoors in the many months to come, as well as be collaborating with a friend, Brent Clark, who is a wonderful guitarist, and his wife Denise Clark is a director, producer locally. She's worked with a lot of artists and actors through a bunch of different venues. So she has something that she and her husband Brent are working on, and I'll be participating in that. And that'll be sometime in the summer. There's not a set date yet. But I mean, everything is so loose right now and kind of up in the air. And that in a way has been a gift for this. It's been really good to have a little bit of downtime, a little bit, for me personally, a little bit less of that push to have to do one thing after the next. I think that rest is important. And my full-time job is definitely a very social job, and so it's been good at a time when my social job has a lot of highs and lows emotionally from the people that I'm working with, to be able to have some time to just like rest and reflect has been a gift.
Yeah. Good. That's good to hear too. I mean, because like a lot of musicians up in the Upper Great Lakes, it's not always a full-time job to be a musician. There's always something else that you may have to pair it with. And especially when we might feel drained from one, I talked about this with John Davey the other day. It's hard to sometimes feel like you can fill your own cup if you've emptied it out in many other venues in life. So it's important to keep that in check and make sure we have that balance. And I think that's where some of that creativity comes from, a mixture of the cup being empty and the cup being full. And I'm glad to hear that you're working on that balance yourself too, because that's really important. So,
yeah.
Well, Carrie, it's been great talking to you about everything going on in your life in the creative side of things, and things that you have to look forward to as well. Are there any details about any other projects or aspects of your performances that you want to share as we wrap up today?
No, I mean, if anyone wants to join, you can find me on Facebook, Kerry Yost, and on my music page, I post all of my videos there. When I say all of, I mean like the 5. And if you have any thoughts, if you have anything that you'd like to hear, then that might be good for me too. Send a message along, it'll give me a little kick in the butt to get working on something new.
Awesome. Awesome. And hopefully as spring starts to spring up around us, that'll help with the momentum as well. Not to say we want to force anything, of course, just because of the nature of life right now. But again, we're all looking forward to spring and looking forward with what might happen next with Carrie here. So Carrie, thank you so much for spending some time with us here on the Local Spin. It's been great to talk with you.
Thank you very much, Kurt. So nice to see you.
Yep. You just heard a conversation that I had with local musician Kerry Yost as a part of the Local Spin. And actually, she submitted a few performance videos for us as well. So stay tuned now for Ceaseless Flow of Endless Time, followed by Love Itself.
A ceaseless flow of endless time, no one can check or stay. We'll view the past with no regret, nor future with dismay. The present slips into the past, and dream like melts away. The breaking of tomorrow's dawn begins anew today. The past and future ever meet in the eternal now, to make each day a thing complete shall be our New Year vow. When was the last time you walked alone, stepping softly? Did you feel at home? Or did you feel afraid? Did you look all around you? And did you see the way that fear can break you down? That fear can break you down. When was the last time you remembered your dreams, sleeping softly? Did they make you feel free? And did they show the way, or did they all surround you? And when the eagles came, did you take flight or drown? Did you take flight or drown? When was the last time you felt alive, slipping softly into the depths of your mind? Oh, can you see the way the light is all around you? And can you see the face of love itself shine down? I can see the way the light is all around you. In you I see the face of love itself shine down.